Hello, Fulton Virtual parents. This is Nathan Butler, lead social studies teacher for Fulton Virtual, bringing you a quick look here at how to set up your parent portal account. Now, first things first, in order for you to access the parent portal, we need an email address. Our student information system, Genius, draws parent emails directly from eSchool, which is the program that schools use for scheduling, attendance, grades, and all of that. So you want to make sure that your email address is accurate with the school. We can't update your email address on our end in Genius because it synchronizes with eSchool. If we update it, but you don't update it with the school guidance office, then the very next time that it all synchronizes, the new information we entered for your email address gets wiped out by that old incorrect information. So make sure that the school guidance office does have your correct email address. Then it's up to the Fulton Virtual teacher to take that email information and put it into Edgenuity onto the profile of your child. When the teacher does that, they will enable the parent portal for you, which creates a 4-digit code, and it's that code that you're going to need to set up an account. So first, request the code from the teacher, and once you have it, go to the following website, learn.edgenuity.com/family. You probably noticed that the address changed into something a lot more detailed once we actually got there. You don't need to worry about that. Just learn.edgenuity.com/family. To log in, it's going to ask for an email address and a password. The activation code, though, is not the password. You need to create an account first. For that, go to Activate Account. This is where you'll use that code. You're going to use whatever email address was set up in the system as your email address. Usually that's going to be whatever existed in Genius, so it's whatever existed in eSchool with your child's school. If you do have an alternate email address, you could request that the teacher put that into Edgenuity as well. But the email address must match whichever email address the code was set up for when the teacher put the information in. So in this case, I've set myself up as the parent of Jimmy Fallon. Our director and program specialist must be fans because they use that name for the fake student for things like this all the time. So I'm going to put in my email address here that was used when setting up this parent code. Now I'm going to use the activation code that would have been supplied by the teacher. In this case, the activation code is 3970. Then hit continue. Now I'm going to have to set up this account as I would accounts in most places with a password, a confirmation of the same password, a security question, and a security answer. The security question and answer won't matter as long as you know what they are. I know, a little bit of a plug there, and we hit continue again. There we go. The account has been successfully activated, so now I can log in. You're going to be prompted to select a time zone. Obviously, we are Eastern time, but you can set it for whatever you need. And here's your breakdown for the parent portal. You have the student's name, the school, how recent the access was, when was the last time that the student actually got into the system, how much time was spent this week, and how many activities were completed this week. In this case, Jimmy Fallon was set up as a summer school student, so we don't have any current data for this week. We then have an attendance log, so you can see when the student has logged in, what they were doing while logged in, and so forth. And then a progress report that's going to break down the grade. That's going to be the same information that you receive in the weekly or daily email progress reports if you've signed up for those, or if the teacher signed you up for those automatically. If by chance you have multiple children who are going through the process here, and you've connected them all with that same account, your same email address is linked to all of them in Edgenuity, you'll be able to choose Select Student to choose a different child. In this case, our fake Jimmy Fallon is an only child, so there's no option to switch. Let's check out the attendance log. You'll set your dates for when you want to look at the attendance, and then hit Submit. Below is the breakdown. Each week will tell you how much time was spent in total, how many activities were completed in total. Each day, how much time is spent, how many activities have been completed. Note, though, that where it says idle time, Idle time doesn't just mean the student was just sitting there. They may have been working on something, but idle time starts counting as soon as the current activity is done before the student moves on to whatever is next. If a student goes back and re-watches part of a lesson before they move on to the next thing, it is treating that re-watching time as idle time because it's not new. Usually idle time means exactly what it sounds like. The student just let it sit, but not always. You might also note there that just because there were 0 activities completed, that doesn't mean the student wasn't working. You check out Tuesday, the student spent time in math and spent 12 minutes and 23 seconds before any idle time kicked in, working in the course. So the student was working on something new, but there were 0 activities completed. Maybe the lesson takes longer than 12.5 minutes. Maybe the student was working on a test and didn't finish and saved it to come back to it later. A 0 for activities completed isn't necessarily a bad thing. Always check that against the amount of time that was spent. You can print this if you see the need. And lastly, let's check out progress reports. There's a separate video on this channel about how to read progress reports coming from Edgenuity, but essentially this is the exact same information that you would see in those emailed progress reports, or that a student can see when they go into the system, into the organizer, then reports, then progress report. If you're looking for information about what all these data points mean, I would urge you to check out that video on this channel. And that's it. Simple as that. The hardest part is making sure that you have the activation code and requesting that ahead of time, or making sure that your email address is correct in the system. Beyond that, it's all relatively user-friendly. If you have any questions, though, of course, contact your student's instructor.